Here it was damaged. It's for the brake level sensor. It lets you know when fluid is low. Remove that. So we got a 10mm flare wrench designed for removing these. You don't want to use the typical box wrench or box end wrench. It'll strip these out. Newer ones been slipping just a little bit. Let's see, I want to strip these out. So, yeah, so we got this 10mm flare wrench. Let's see if these will break the front and rear fluid line hoses loose. So if you have problems with these, don't try to force it to work. Just get these ones have a lifetime warranty. Just go and get another one. It's in better condition because I haven't used it as much. Break these loose, and that way we can move these around a little bit. Changing their shape too much. You really don't want to get any brake fluid on the paint. That's why we use cardboard. This is pretty old fluid, so kind of just keep dropping down here. Just leave those rags to absorb it. So we got the 12mm on the impact. Master cylinder here. The mounting nut. And the lock washers. I think there's another one down here at the bottom that holds the pushing valve in place. So, plug those holes. I don't know if you can catch that. And Napco pretty much makes the brake master cylinders for all these cars. I'm going to remove the portioning valve bracket. So we're very lightly bending these lines, not a lot, just a small amount. Okay. Start by removing the glove compartment door. Just want to loosen these. They're all Phillips screws, and you also want to pull the whole glove compartment's basically coming out. Two Phillips screws here. Bottom. You take the last one out, you basically want to support it. There's that little hook there. Pull down on if you don't want to break the glove compartment. Here for this. I'm going to use the impact. There's actually a notch here, but tool for that if you needed to. these screws. I think there was another tab. It's beneath this panel here. So this plastic thing, there's normally a clip that holds it in place. And there is a 10 here. So underneath here though, there is, I mean, you'd think it's done, but there's actually a row of like Phillips screws that go up and secure this section to the dash. Two, three, four. Push this cable off. Just tuck this. It's out of the way while we're working. This nice little clip that you can kind of prop it on. To also remove the connector for the blower motor, which is down here. It's that same connector we just saw on the brake master cylinder for the fluid level sensor. I think there was also some wires that go to the AC, but we might not need to remove them because this has enough give to kind of move out of the way so we can get at the 4 bolts that hold the booster in. So it's good to have like an assortment of tools, especially 12s, to try to get in at all of this. This might even want to use creates on the top one here. For the extension, the top one off. There's 2 up here on the blower. And then I think there's 2 for the AC as well, or maybe there's just 1 up here. The AC one. The system is still charged on this car, so it's kind of presenting us with a few challenges to actually get the booster out. But I have managed it on another car, so it's doable. It's just, it's very going through here, going through the speaker. It's actually pretty nice. Oh, your hand is small enough, I guess. So 1, 2, and 3 on the blower motor for the fastener. So I want to move carefully because this is still charged. You need to pull the ECU to get the clearance. That'd probably be a good idea. And that way I can move it more to the right. And I won't hit this too much. Pointer. So we got 2 here, and then there's another 2 behind this box and up here. So there's this pin right here that you have to, I'll just show you with my hand. You have to remove this cotter pin here. I'm straightening it. There you go. And then the pin comes out. Then you go from the other side. Then you push on this side. It's hitting the back of this box actually. So you got to move this forward to here about, which is a very small amount. It's like, what? The air conditioner computer isn't passing the crash bar here. Okay, I got it. So here's the pin. Here's the washer, and then the cotter pin through here, pretty much. And that's how it's installed on the car. The other one. These two are the really easier ones to get at. Other two are a little harder to reach. So we managed to unscrew all of them off camera, but these two are easy, the ones that are on the right, because they're in plain view when you get the blower motor out, but the other two are in really difficult to get at locations. So these are all pretty much the tools that came in handy. I used a box wrench, an open end, and it has a closed end as well. I used the closed end to like break it loose, and these aren't too tight, so they're just like this. To get the upper left one, I pretty much stuck it on this, what is that, 3-inch extension, 2-inch extension, give or take. And pretty much I got these from Lowe's in a set, the Cobalt set. And then I used this really long one, and I just very lightly pushed on this down a little to just loosen it from far away. To break it loose though, you need, the torque of having closer extension. But pretty much that's how you get the two on the left. And now we can pull it out of the injured bay. So, okay, so it's now all loose. So just gonna pull it out here. And it's got a spacer. See, the key one is like, it's not a lot, but you can see that it's a little skinnier, so I like to reuse the original just in case. But I mean, you can get some of the adjustment back here, so it's not that big a deal. So you can see how much smaller the unit is in comparison. This is a 3rd gen Eclipse brake master cylinder, and we reversed the, I'm pretty sure it's a 3rd gen, but we reversed the reservoir on it, put it back in so that we'd have more clearance for the airbox. But, this is a 116 bore brake master cylinder. Actually, do have to take this off. Difficult to fit it in here. I had to force these. Might have to do this. So, again, I made this patch harness here, and it basically makes this longer, like that, so it's plug and play. So we're done with the brake light that's hooked up. I'm gonna stick the mounting nut on this. It doesn't go anywhere. I'm gonna fasten down the master now. Just nice and fasten down. so flat. I'm gonna manipulate where this metal plate sits. Pull it forward a bit. That's better, so this isn't gonna rattle on the brake booster vacuum hose. Good there too. And we barely have enough room to mount this vacuum hose this way. It's actually pretty clean. We got our hands on two of these bubble flare brake lines for the Brake Master, and so this will work on the upgraded Brake Master cylinder, but this end has to be modified to work on the proportioning valve. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off this end, and then we're going to use a flare tool that's over here to flare it. Okay, so we cut it off nice and even, and in order to deburr the tip, I like to use a drill bit sharpener that I got at Harbor Freight. I think it was like $5 for it, or less. With a coupon, probably gonna be less. And we just stick a drill on this end, and we turn this just ever so slightly, I guess, until you get most of the junk off. We're not gonna remove a lot of material. We're just trying to make a even base for the die to press against the Makita drill here. Most of the rough end here using the Harbor Freight drill bit sharpener. The tool is 27015 OEM, and you can rent these at AutoZone for like $20 or so at present. But basically, you want to make sure this end is snug at first, and then you can just, work the height. You want the brake line to be approximately at the height of the first step on the die there. Try to move this around a bit so you can see that it's fairly close. Looks like it. And make sure that these are even, perpendicular to each other before you tighten this part down. Where'd the die go? Just dropped it. Oh, here it is. And so that's a little too short, so you can walk it in a little bit. That looks better. Typically you want it to be, these things are so easy to lose, so I'm going to be careful with them. Then you tighten these both down nice and tight so it doesn't go anywhere. And you run the die, which is 3/16 in our case. And oh, another tip. Obviously, this is obvious, but you want to make sure that this end is on and facing the end before you actually put it in the vise. This already had it on it, so we didn't even mess with it. But if this was missing, you'd have to put the threaded end on, or the fitting. But, because this came with it, now I'm going to put the clamp in the vise, or on the vise, which is what this piece is called. And then you tighten, apply pressure to both sides so that the part doesn't go anywhere. I like to hold it from the actual clamp, and that way as you're tightening you're not going to be moving on the hose. You can hold it from here, but I've had some tips come out warped a little bit using that method, so try to keep this centered, and you just tighten it down equally until bottoms. Down there. Knock that off. You can see that's nice and flush. I mean, it's not perfectly, but it's enough to where we have that double flare started. And then you run the clamp over it. Nice and even, you don't want to be too rough. And that's actually a pretty nice job. You can see it. That's pretty much what you want to go for when you're doing these. I'll take this off, and then you can kind of see, notice how there's a good amount of distance here. If you do it wrong, you'll notice that this doesn't quite get to that thickness. I've done a few where they're really flat on the end here, and typically that happens because I didn't prep them, and having this tool kind of helps with that. So I recommend getting the drill bit sharpener if you're going to use this tool. We've already done the other one. You can clean up the area here a bit and make it more presentable, I guess, but for the most part, these are both pretty well done, and you have to do double flares on all brake lines for them to be street legal or road legal. That's how it's done. We now have to bend these lines. We already kind of got this one bent. It's in here loosely. You just want it on there loose, so like 4 turns or so. So you know they're tight, the end fittings here. You don't want to be able to do stuff like this where you can pull it back and forth. You want to make sure that this is completely seated, otherwise you'll have leaks. Oh, this is a Top 3 synthetic brake fluid. And I'm just going to fill this up a little over because we're probably going to do some bleeding. That's going to take some of that off. We can also check for leaks at this time if we see anything down here. Anything that's concerning. We were planning to possibly use these brass adapters, but it turns out that they have some issues, and I just decided instead we're just gonna flare some and make them on our own. And that's pretty much what we ended up doing. So the brake lights are now staying on this car because we need to adjust the brake light switch. All right, so this is the brake light switch. Needs to be readjusted, otherwise the brakes will stay on, the light. There you go. And so we loosen this so that we can bring the brake light switch closer to the pedal, because it's supposed to, when the pedal's up on it, the lights shut off, so you need to twist this in more due to the change in the brake booster and master. But we're just gonna tighten it inward, and then the brake lights on the back should shut off. All right, quick update. We got the interior all back together again. We put the dash glove compartment back in. And one thing I really wanted to quick mention, I would normally say just reverse the order of disassembly, but I'm gonna add some little provisos, I guess, you know, little notes for you guys, because, you know, I'm here and I did this and I wanna save you guys some time. So when you put it all back together again, this would just be floating, the cooling box or cooling unit for the AC, and the what do you call it? The blower motor, that's what they call this. The heater blower motor and AC blower motor. You wanna install this first inside of here. It's kind of difficult to get it in, but it is doable, and you basically push it this way and then you get it in. You don't put your ECU in first, which is, you know, the golden engine control box, which is up in here. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but just take my word for it. There's a the engine control unit is under here, and you don't want to put that in first. You want to start with the heater box and get that all bolted in. One bolt down here, and then two, well, it's actually a nut, but one down here and two on the top up there. And this one's really hard to get at, the one that's on the right side, but on the left, that one's pretty easy to get. Then you want to bolt in the AC unit. It has one nut down here and one on the top. All of these are 12mm nuts. And there's a clip also up here that's not visible really, but it's way up here, and you want to make sure you get that clip back in. And then, I mean, that's just if you want to be 100%. You probably don't have to, but I'd say just do it if you want to do it the right way. And then make sure you get the wires back in. There's one on here, and then you want to reconnect all the wires that are down in here if you removed any of them, and then get all the trim back in. So pretty much heater box, AC box, ECU can go in last. And the part of the reason for that is because the ECU, with it in there, it kind of gets in the way of putting the heater box back in. So I just left it out, and I installed this first, and then this, and then the ECU. So pretty much that's the order of that. And got the glove box all back together again and everything. That's all together. And then we bled the brakes as well off camera. I didn't have time to actually show that, but it's not that hard to do, and there's many videos on YouTube on how to bleed brakes. And I just didn't have the time to do it. I might have another video where I will actually go into detail on how I like to bleed the brakes on these cars. And I will go into detail on another video probably on how to bleed the brakes on these cars. But for now, you're just gonna have to live with the fact that I actually did it and everything's installed and everything. So this car pretty much is back together again. My friend's gonna be happy to have his car back. So, you know, so he can finally get on the road with this thing. Yeah, all the stuff that's inside, we did it all legit. The air filter can needed some modification, but you saw it in the video. There's going to be some more videos that we're going to post up in the coming months, maybe weeks, if I have the time. I really do want to get more content out. I know you guys are waiting, and you know, some of you aren't, I mean, but you know what I mean. In order to have a successful channel, you really do need more content. But anyway, point of the matter is we got the whole thing back together again. That's a quick tip that you can add to this whole thing. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and if this video helped you, you know, like it, and you know, share it with friends, family, whatever, you know. Anybody that might, you know, gain some info from this, or if it can help you guys put your car back together again. You know, because I don't want you guys driving around with cars that are halfway put back together again. So yep, let me know if you guys have any more requests as far as videos for like these cars, or doing maintenance on them, whatever, because I own, you know, at least 2 of them. And you know, I periodically do maintenance on these things myself, and I've never had these things out of shop, except for inspections. But other than that, I pretty much do all my own work. So if you guys need to know anything else about these cars, or you know, need some help or whatever, you guys can message me on my channel or whatever, and just stay in touch. Let me know, you know, what you guys want to see, and I'll see you in the next video.